there, welcome back to the channel Loving Life on Less. I'm Liz and we talk about all things frugal, time saving, money saving, anything that improves our life without consuming more, very often using less. Now today's video is actually almost a two-parter. At the end of the week we're going to be releasing a video, probably just after Christmas, regarding a no spend January that David and I, my husband, are going to have this year. And that will incorporate spending no money on food, going out to any sort of treat places, no takeaways, no restaurants, no cafes, no buying clothes, no going wild in the January sales, no spending apart from bills that must be paid, such as gas, electric, utilities, that type of thing, and emergencies. So any outright emergencies like a prescription needs to be filled or anything like that. Other than that, absolutely no spending. Now, running up to a no spend January to save money, of course, and just basically get rid of all the glut of things you tend to have accumulated throughout of last year. Use up all the food in your cupboards that sort of got really old dates, or just use the rest of the Christmas food up or whatever you've got. As well as it also helps declutter stuff. You start to realise all the stuff that you've got that you want, that needs decluttering. Because the more stuff you actually either get rid of, sell, repair, recycle, whatever you do to it, it sort of like clears your head as well. Decluttering, when you're decluttering physical things, is really good for your mind. So yeah, it's basically just to start January 2023 prudent, frugal, as we mean to go on, but like a fresh start. All the end of the consumerism from December 23 and Christmas, and an end to all that extra really rich food and everything else that goes around with it, and a nice lean, mean, fighting January 2023. Now that's the video for in about a week's time, but now this video is actually about things we won't be buying at all in 2023, January through to December. And David and I have a daughter who's 11, and we're actually including her in most of what she will and won't buy, because she has a small allowance she gets each month, and she determines what she spends her money on. She also won't have no such things like non-spending periods of time, because she has part dinner money, part lunch. She might need books, expenditure for school books or uniform. So she'll be incorporated into the budget, but she won't be doing the no spends that we're doing. But for 2023, these are items that we do not intend to buy. Number one was probably the biggest one for me, and that was no clothes, shoes, makeup or toiletries. I have such of what I consider enough clothes in the wardrobe. I only maybe wear 30% of them. So I need to start getting that other 70% out before I even dream about buying anything else. And I've certainly got enough clothes to last all year. Underwear, hats, scarves, belts, socks, tights, jeans, jackets, footwear, everything. So no expenditure on clothes at all in 2023. And David's agreed the same. He feels he has enough clothes. But should anything tear, we shall repair it. Should there be an issue, we'll sort it. But he's got enough clothes and spares that he does not need to make any purchases for 2023. So you see, this is just one half of the wardrobe, which is clothes, glorious clothes. And at the bottom, shoes and handbags and belts. And then if I go to the other side, more clothes and jackets and hats and belts. So definitely no clothes buying this year. And talking of the wee one again, the daughter, something else we also discussed, David and I, was we weren't buying any more cheap plastic toys, craft kits, makeup sets, cheap pencils, anything like that, that just end up broken and end up in sort of like in a drawer in her desk, or as it used to be at the bottom of a toy box. And the same for gifts if she's going to friends' parties or other children within the family. We're going to be a little bit more careful about what we are actually spending our money on, more intentional spending, you know, things that are actually sort of things that sort of like a nice set of pencils, coloured pencils and an artist's pad, something that will stimulate creativity, silk threads if the child's interested in sewing, building kits more that seem to be very popular and help creativity. And things like Lego and Meccano, even a bit more expensive, they stand the test of time. They can also be picked up at reasonable prices second hand. But a lot of this plastic stuff, which tends to come in from abroad, breaks quickly and is forgotten about quickly. It seems to be such a waste of money. And especially if you keep your eye out for Christmas, if you've got children, and they're opening all these presents and all this plastic packaging and boxes and for these tiny little toys in the centre, which the child very rarely will play with for very long at all. I think loom bands is another one with a brightly coloured plastic, like a little elastic. Well, you're meant to make jewellery with them, but they just make sort of like twisted braided jewellery. They get everywhere around the house. They get stuck in the Hoover. And to be fair, they're not even really appreciated. We really just call it plastic tat. And that's what it is, because it just ends up in the bin. It's a waste of money and a waste of resources. The earth's resources to be making these things, in my opinion. So that's something else we won't be buying. Cheap, plastic, easily disposable toys. Number 3, more so for after January, when the spending is back on, or careful spending is back on. If we have any day trips where expenditure is required, and we've also had a holiday that had to be postponed from last week, we've rebooked for next year. We won't be buying or bringing back any souvenirs from these day trips, holidays. Even if it's going into the next village, we won't be bringing back magnets and cups and T-shirts and whatever else you may get on holiday. Not only does it just tend to be stuff that's never truly appreciated, you don't come back home and hold it and think of the memories of it, do you? It's just literally very often just stuck in a cupboard and never used, whether it's the cup, the magnet, the T-shirt, the tea towels, whatever it may be. And it's just a really big waste of money in our opinion. So on these day trips and holidays, the only things we're going to bring back are memories and digital photographs. There's less clutter too. There'll be no souvenirs being bought at all in 2023. Number 4, let me turn my paper over. I've got them written down. Paper towels. We aren't a big paper towel buyer anyway. Last few years we've been using old rags, old towels, chamois leathers, a few of the microfiber cloths, etc. But I think quite a lot of people have found it, especially in the UK. I don't know if it's worldwide, but in the last few weeks we've had really bad condensation on the inside of your windows as the temperatures dropped on the outside, and you've had heat and people being in the house more. As soon as anything warm hits the window, it turns to condensation. Come sometimes by morning, it's absolutely dripping. And the only thing I actually found was to get up in the morning and literally go around cleaning every window. Now, as well as having the really pants weather, it meant that drying was very difficult. So to use great big heavy cloths every day to clean up all this moisture was an absolute nuisance to have to try and get them dry again. Especially with having other laundry and washing to do as well. So I'd bought some really strong, good paper towel. And after using 3/4 roll, even though it worked really effectively, I thought this is going to cost a lot of money. And once it's used, it's used. If I'm having to use it for the next 3 months. So I actually found some cloths at Lidl's. I think they hold 16 times their own weight in moisture. They can be washed in temperatures of up to 98 degrees so almost boiling wash without breaking apart. And you can use them again and again and again. And I think they were £1.99 for 4. And I've bought them. And when the condensations come out in the morning, they've really cleaned it up really well. As good, if not better, as the paper towels. And I get to use them again and again. Good thing also as well, you can wring them out and use them again and again. And they dry a lot quicker than big heavy towels. So, yeah, definitely no paper towels at all we will be buying this year. We'll just carry on using our rags, dishcloths, and now our special little sponge cloths. I haven't got them here now, but I will put them just now at the video so you can see what they are and and the composition. So they're not expensive and they look like they're going to be bargains. I've not had them in the washing machine yet, but apparently they can stand washes up to 98 degrees. They aren't like to have a wash like that here. Well, not very often anyway. So I don't think they'll be breaking apart, but I'll let you have a look. Right, here's the Wonder Cloths from Lidl's. Sponge cloths, approximately 18 by 20 centimetres. So they're a good hand span width, they're a reasonable size. Sponge, and as it says, made from 100% natural fibres, tear proof, washable up to 95%. And the pièce de résistance, when you have condensation down your windows, is absorbs 19 times its own weight, and then you wring it out. So yeah, I'm imagining these will last for quite a while. Number 5, we won't be buying character anything. And when I say that, having a child in a house, I was thinking of character bedding, character curtains, character cups, character plates, character colouring books. The general thing I've found with anything character orientated in children is they very quickly go off them. So you've got all this, say, Snow White bedding, for example, and curtains and lampshades and all the rest of it, even if you buy them secondhand, and within 6 months the child's onto something else and has matured away from that. So from now on, and definitely we'll not be buying anything charactery for around the house. The only thing we'll be buying is any neutrals, sort of neutral colours, beige, pinks, greys, or creams, or anything that you see you can maybe add something a little bit jazzy, like if she said that the daughter goes crazy for unicorns, which we've already had that phase, we'd just get like one unicorn thing or whatever she gets as birthday presents, rather than have the whole bedroom decorated out in unicorns. And not only that, if you get good quality bedding or linens and curtains and things made of cotton, having them lined, it's a one-time deal that you need to have it done, and they will last for years and years and stay fashionable. You just have to bring in the odd accessories, should you wish to. You know, I'm not a big fan of like changing decor all the time, but 11-year-olds have a lot of peer pressure. But you know, we're just not going to do it with all the various different characters, bedding and things that's required. Sorry, I was looking out the window, little Robin. Oh, bless. Right. Number 7, drinking bottles. We seem to collect a mass of plastic drinking bottles. I mean, they look tired quickly. The lids that fit the drinking bottles always seem to disappear away from the other lids. And I've also noticed when you've had water in a drinking bottle, a plastic drinking bottle, for only a few hours, the water seems to absorb some of the plasticky taste, and it doesn't taste particularly pleasant. So this year, for our Christmas presents, we've got 3 stainless steel bottles each. So there's one for all of us, and they're ours, and theirs to use for the rest of the year. They won't have, you know, they're going to be really resilient. They're not going to be like the plastic. They're also almost act like a thermos, so if you put water in them, they stay really cool. They don't take on the flavour of the water won't take on the flavour of the metal, and also they're really easy to wash. So definitely next year, even though we've gone through years of buying 2 or 3 plastic drinking bottles for whatever reason every year, we won't be doing it this year, 2023. Number 7, we'll not be buying any takeaways. That's like a little personal pledge to ourselves in 2023, no takeaways. We've actually moved to a village where it's quite difficult to get takeaways. However, we still have, when we've been out back into the city, have had 1 or 2. We've not particularly enjoyed them. I think when your palate's been a little bit away from takeaways, the next one you have's really salty, or really sweet, or it's just really greasy. Everything seems to sort of like, you know, not taste as good as you remember. So we're going to look at doing fakeaways, which are almost a homemade replica of your favourite takeaways. And we'll do some videos of those, because not only are they going to be replicas of takeaways, they're going to be cheaper and as cost effective as possible, and hopefully will taste a lot better. So for 2023, no takeaways for us. Right, number 8. This is probably quite the biggie, but we will not be buying any cleaning products other than washing up liquid and bleach. Along with vinegar and some acetone and some turpentine, we believe most things are cleanable around the house. Now, recently I've been using vinegar, brown vinegar, in the washing machine, usually a capful in the drawer. And yeah, nothing else. And not only is it good for cleaning the machine, and it's good for the earth because it's just not got any harming chemicals in it, I've noticed the washing seems to be coming out really soft and clean and fresh. It doesn't smell of vinegar. Also, for example, on like white shirts, the white school shirts, the brown vinegar doesn't stain. It's a lot cheaper than white vinegar, and it doesn't stain. But I've also noticed that even though everything comes up looking nice and fresh and clean, something like a white shirt on the collar can still have a little bit of a mark. So I've just took a normal bar of soap. It's actually cheap. I think it was 19p from Tesco's. just wet the end of the soap and just ran it along any stains. So that's how I've been doing the washing on stains. I've just been doing putting a little bit of hand soap, bar of soap, rubbing it along the stain and then washing it. Now, the only caveat to that is, again, is if there's a grease stain, grease needs breaking down, and of course the vinegar can only do so much. It can freshen and clean, but it can't break down sort of fat unless it was neat and placed on top of the fat stain, the grease mark. So what I do actually is tiny, teeny bit of washing up liquid that do on your pots and just rub it into the grease stain. And the same with shampoo for greasy hair, but it's not quite as effective as washing up liquid. And because washing up liquid is so versatile, it's going to be on the shopping list. So this is going to be the year of just bleach, washing up liquid, and a few household cleansers around the house. For example, bicarbonate of soda, the vinegar, as we've said, the acetone, other things like that, and hydrogen peroxide's a good one for blood. So yeah, I'll let you know how we get on with that, but that's the plan for 2023. There's many different household products and detergents we will not be buying. Number 10, we will not be buying any mouthwash. We've not bought mouthwash for a few years. Not only is very often it's alcohol based, which is quite harsh on your mouth. It's the amount of chemicals that are in it, and it's the cost of it. I found one of the very best mouthwashes you can have is we use sea salt dissolved in water, and once a month I'll make a bottle of this, and you just swell your mouth out with it every day. Really good swill round your teeth and stuff after you've brushed it. You can also use coconut oil pulling, which we've done also. When I had an upset gum, rather than take antibiotics, I did oil pulling for a couple of weeks, and that healed it. It's no replacement for a good dentist, obviously, but it's just things you've got around the house. Coconut oil is fantastic for many things, from like a lip balm to putting on your feet because it's antifungal. If you've got athlete's foot, it's just good for so many things. And yeah, definitely oil pulling. Oil pulling's worth researching on the internet. And also, some people swear by it. They do it all the time to give them white, sparkly teeth. So yeah, but yeah, no more mouthwash. Salt water. This one's really more for my husband than me. He was going to be in the video today, but he's ended up being outside working. He's not going to buy any more tools. He's got a larger arrangement of tools because he loves doing handy DIY things. But he realises maybe he's just got too many. If he hasn't got 2 of everything, he's got 3 of everything. So not only is he going to declutter his tools, and he's going to sell some tools, and he's going to give some away because there's a charity, a Men in Shed type charity, where they also make things, and it's nice to have extra spare tools. He doesn't want to buy anymore, no matter how tempted he is. It's a bit like me in a bookshop. When he goes in one of the tool shops, he'll always find some tools he wants. So yeah, unless if a tool breaks, he's going to either use another tool or try and repair that tool. So any sort of DIY stuff, he's going to literally turn his shed and his garage upside down till he finds something he can use in replacement for it. He also actually, because we tend to buy things and also sell them on as part of a small sort of like income stream coming in, he's got a very good eye for antique and vintage type tools, which sell really well. And so when we go car booting, he'll very often come out with a couple of vintage tools that either need mending or need a handle, like an axe head need a handle putting on or whatever. And but in his non-tool buying, non-DIY buying for 2023, he did want the caveat to be he will still be looking in car boots to buy tools to sell on. So yeah, that's really important because he really enjoys that, as well as makes a little bit of money. And finally, this one's more for me. I will not be buying any more cosmetics or any more toiletries. Usually after Christmas, tend to have been given quite a few toiletries anyway, and usually enough to last. And I've got a little stock of all the shampoos and things when they've been on special offer. Most of them aren't even, they're not particularly brand names. They're just ones I found that worked quite well, and some are quite cheap. And yeah, and also with the makeup thing, I've got not loads of makeup. I do tend to wear a little bit every day. But this year, if I run out of something, then I'm just going to find something else to use. It's going to be a year of really If something runs out, something breaks, something fails, getting inventive and using something else, or maybe even going for a few days without makeup. Who knows? But yeah, so 2023 is going to be the cutting stuff back to get more from it, really. So thank you for being with me. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, or share, and we'll be with you again soon. Look out for our non-spending January videos. There might be one or two, and of course there'll be monthly updates throughout January to see how we're getting on. I think the longest both of us have gone without spending was probably about 10 days. So it's going to be a difficult one, but it's going to be really revealing for us, and also probably really enjoyable because it's going to make us really creative and resourceful. So thanks a lot. I'll see you again soon. Bye.